Good morning. Right. I'll say good morning. It's not very morning anymore. You know, a spider. Don't know where he's going. Now, I spent the majority of my morning working on this thing. A piston rig, basically, that can get high and low enough, and I actually went back to my original design. Yeah. We're back down to the original design, but I've managed to get both sets of I guess wheels on, so it's pretty good. I built a frame around it, as you can see, and yeah, this thing can retract, and it retracts all the way into this section here, so it's not too bad. But the main reason I brought you here now is I have received a message from Strider, or at least I've been notified that I have a message from Strider. So I need to hop into my seat so I have a nice antenna signal, and we will see what the man has to say.
Pioneer, you've done well with the road, trucks and cranes. But it's time to look further ahead. Moving ore and components by truck works for now, but that won't be enough for output speeds across Anteros. We need something faster, heavier and more reliable. Trains. But listen, we can't just throw down a few kilometres of track without knowing it will hold up. Sustainability, durability and efficiency matters here. That means your next mission is experimental. I want you to test a few different rail layouts, curves, gradients, junctions, and see what designs prove more sustainable for the trains. At the same time, start working on bogey concepts for locomotives and cargo wagons, strong suspension, smooth alignment, and long-term durability. Think this of a research and development. Bare bones, nothing polished yet. We want to get a design we trust, and then we can start building the true railway network across Anteros. This isn't about speed, it's about reliability. Get the fundamentals right now, and it'll save us a lot of broken trains later. You've got this. Strider, out.
Right. Well, that is a mission and a half. I'm guessing he's updated my datapad? Yep. Train R&D. Experiment with basic rail layouts, straight lines, curves, gradients. Prototype train bogey systems for smooth, stable travel, and test suspension with wheel alignments and track stability. Stability? Words. Right, okay. I like it. So, I guess he wants us to move away from trucks somewhat. I'm guessing trucks are still going to be very vital for short distance. But I guess as we get further and further along... Have I got any ammo? No. I guess it's going to become more and more important. Don't mind me, I'm just grabbing some ammo. Did bring over a little bit of iron. I've also I've done a couple of trips of the iron mine, so the refineries should be refining a good amount at the moment. Shouldn't have to worry about it for now, but yeah. Actually surprised none of the other ones are doing anything. Fair enough. Let's get a magazine in there. Perfect. Let's get a spare one. Right, that should be good for a little bit. So, Strider wants us to work on the R&D side. Which basically means I need to come up with a couple of track types, making sure that they can work both in a straight line, which should be the easiest, also curves and gradient, because if you haven't noticed, this planet isn't just a big flat slab. I'm guessing he has a plan for going to further away parts, which makes sense. Right, okay, so I'm gonna go and grab some steel plates, and let's see if we can come up with a few basic layouts which can work. Okay, so let's do a little bit of experimentation. We could go with something like this, and then place a thing on here and a thing on here. So that would go like that. That would go like that. So the train would run on the top parts of these ones and can also clamp onto the inside. That one's not a bad design. We could do something along the lines of this. We could do the same thing, but instead of that, we would do it like that. So that makes a bit of a wider train track. Obviously, wider means better for stability, because it's harder to tip something which is wider. However, it also means that it is easier, or it's harder to make a turn because there'll be a bigger gap when you build them. Let's see if I can do it. Something like this, this, this. So same as what that design is, but instead we could do these. So the advantage with this is, in total, these blocks use 6 steel plates, where the other ones use 19. So 6 to 19 is quite a big difference. And that also looks kind of cool, because I thought I could, going forth on this one, you could add another one like that, and another one like that, and then you'd almost have like a floating rail look. I also do know of a nice way of making it possibly stable, which is why I like this design, because what you can do on this one is, if I include panels, I can place panels in here, and then find a way of getting a wheel to ride on that part as well as on that part, and have a barrier so it can't fly off. This one, you can do a similar thing, where you basically put, let's see, yep, these like that. So as it's going around the corner, when the wheels try and fly off, they hit that so it can't fly off. Not a bad design. And the same with this one, I can do the same things on this bit here. So that same thing can work, but it's just a lower cost. I do also have some other designs, so let's try with those ones. So another design I have been thinking about is one a little bit like this. So if we place them like that, then we can place that like that. 1, 2, 3. So as you'll see, this one will be a bit of a bigger design. Yep, so it'll be a bit like that. And then we're actually going to use the neon tubes and place those ones like that. So I'm going to need some interior plates, which is fine, I can grab some of them. So it'll be like that. Then also on the top, another layer. And then from there, it'll be like that. Oops. So these are the rails that this thing would run on. The advantage with this is I can have a wheel on 3 sides all the way along. The disadvantage with this one is, as you can see, the rails are fairly expensive. Well, not too bad. So what's that? 2 construction, 6 small steel tube, and 6 interior plates. And think of it being double. So it's not too bad, I guess. And then obviously, to give an idea of how this thing continues, need more interior plates, but that's fine. So it'll go like that, like that. I guess another design I could work out is something along the lines of this, and then all I'll use is the beam blocks, because beam blocks have quite a nice amount of surface area to do stuff on. So these are the designs here. What I'm gonna do now is... Did I see a spider? Maybe not. I need to narrow it down to the ones I'm actually going to take further. Okay? So, I think this design here... yeah. This design here and this design here are basically the same thing, but this one, in this orientation, uses less resources. So I'm going to take this one away. Because we don't need two of the same design. This one is a unique design, this one's a unique design, this one and that one. So I think we're going to be messing around with 4 designs, these 4 right here. Well, I guess there's 5, do I? I'm actually not going to go with this design. It's cool and it could work, and if none of them work I may go back to it. But in terms of being able to angle it, it's not going to be as easy because it's such a big block. Okay, right, so what I need to do is I need to segregate working out each type. So let's go with the first one. I want to design the straight, which we've basically done. I want to design a curve, probably like a 2-degree curve. I could do 3 because it's still a multiple, but it will still divide into 90. There's a spider coming. Does it divide into 40? It does divide into a 45, doesn't it? Does 3 divide into 45? 39, 42, 45, yes. It does. Okay, so that it would be a 2 or a 3-degree angle. Ideally 3 degrees, because then it's just a sharper corner. Okay, let's get this first one worked out, and I think let's go with, I guess, this design. So this is a first design here. It's the extra wide sort of size. I've placed a couple of support points, 3 blocks, or there's 3 blocks apart. You know, I could place another one at this point and another one at that point. And I like to do these kind of things because that means if I want to add any things like hinges or rotors in the middle, I can do. And that is what I'm going to have to do now, because we're going to try and do a corner. So, to be able to build a corner, what I want to do is... So I want the corner to start rotating here. Or there. Probably at this block here. We want 1, 2... Sure, let's place it there. So let's place a rotor and a hinge, and we'll put it so the marker point's on the outside. Gonna set these to 0 and 0. And then what we're gonna do is not be able to place a block. Okay. Where does positive 2 go? Wrong way. So I want negative 2. Need steel plates. Okay, let's go and grab some of them. Okay, so we're going to place a block like that, and then a block like that. Okay. So we want to get it at... Let's go for 3 degrees. 3 degrees like that. And then I want to place down a button panel. And I want to set this to a station, if it lets me. I also want to pull these in as much as I can. Good. Yeah, that should work. You like to become a station yet? Nope. Lower the torque to nothing. Lower this torque to nothing. Lock it. And I guess we could share in this tensors and lock that one as well. There we go. Convert to station. Nice. And what I want to do...
Fuel critical.
Okay. Oh, I also meant to place one of these in here, otherwise it's going to want to attach at some point. So we need to go with... One. Nope. Yes. One of them. Cool. So we can place that like that, that like that. That like that. And again, I can place one or even two of these in here. It'll even fill in the gap just a little bit. And then when I draw it in forward, like that. And as you can see here, it makes a corner. I guess we can do it again. And then, yeah, it can curve, okay. I guess the next thing let's test out is if this thing can elevate and go down. Hello. So, the design for this should be fairly similar. You want to place one of these, and I guess in this case, one with the direction you want it to go. Yeah, this design could certainly work. Okay. So, yeah, that's just a nice simple test. I don't really want to go much more than this, because it's unnecessary. I don't need to. So now what I want to do is I want to mess around with the same, or do that exact same thing, but for this design here. Okay, so this is the same thing as I did over there, but with the different design. It's actually, to be honest, these two designs aren't too dissimilar. They use the same kind of pattern. So from here, I want to do the same mechanism that I did before. And to do that, I want to place a block up here. Oh, it's not going to let me. Oh, that's fun. Okay, how am I gonna do this one then? Or I cut these two out. Yeah, we'll do that. Yes. But I completely forgot I still have done this wrong. That's right. So here, I need to place that one there like that.
Energy
Place that
low.
like that. That like that. Get rid of that, that, and that. Yes, so if I do that, you'll see the corner will be a little bit smoother, because the pivot point of this is actually in the center of this one right here. So it should look a little bit nicer, which it does. Good. Okay, so then we want to do the same thing like that, and then we want to do that. Lock these off so they can't move. Lock these off, get that elevated, and then we want to do a block like that, and a block like that, and get the thing built. Convert it to a station. Whoa. And our spider is gone. He's not coming back anytime soon. Okay, so I've got the other track here built in the exact same way. So it's got a
critical.
3-degree turn and a 3-degree incline. So and it's also got its thing running down the middle. And yeah, this one does look just smooth. So by me doing this bit, it doesn't have a sharp edge. I need to find something that fits into this block a bit better. And I know I could go with something like that. You know, if I did this and this. I could do that, which would give it a much closer connection, but from the side it looks a bit nasty. I could do something like that. I just don't wanna. Or something mini. I don't mind that. Because the wheels that run along here are gonna be in contact enough that it shouldn't matter. And the elevation one, it works for all of them, so I could just do that. And then obviously other places where it doesn't change, it's just a normal straight one. But yeah, this design works. And you can see on the side, you'll see on the side here, it could easily go up or down, and it could easily, well, if I wanted to turn the other way, I'd just put this thing on the other side. This one's quite nice because it's all just -35. And again, I can fully grind these off, so it still has the perfect corner, but doesn't even have any of the blocks there. I'm liking this design, I'm not gonna lie. I may be slightly biased, but I like this design. It just looks good. That one looks also good. It actually works surprisingly good in terms to build. Now let's work on, I guess, this design? No, sorry. Maybe this design next. Okay, let's work on that one. Okay, so again, the same starting point as all the other ones, with the, I guess, neon tube design number 3, in other words. What I want to do is, again, 2 3-degree curves and an incline up. So, to do that, we want to have... right, so we want... change path and rotate on that bit. Okay, so we'll do that one. The nice thing about having a wide design like this is we can have it in the center. That is the main advantage. Yeah. That. can't I place one on the... Oh, I can. Oh, well, there you go. Have them so they cross over like that. That's nice, because then the internal part ends at the middle. Right, that's exactly what I want to do. But it doesn't work. Why? It works if I do it like that, but not if I do it the other way. That's weird. Okay. So that's the two curves. Ooh, got a couple of spiders on their way. So yeah, that will go like that, that will go like that. Like that, like that. Okay. So it'd be a little bit something like this. And I guess what I can do now is just place a couple like that, and a couple like that, like that. So these are all the exact same thing. Couple of curves, couple of straights. So all of these designs can at least do that so far, which is good. Right, so the next one I want to do will be this one. Okay, so this is the fourth design here, using the beam blocks. I don't know why I placed... where are we? There, 7. Beam blocks, yes. So we're gonna... let's see how the exact same design works to do it. Convert it to a station. Do that. Do that. Go something like that. Sure, that should work. And then that one and that one. So there you go. That one is the curve and the blocks. Don't know why, but it seems to be just generally bigger. I don't, does it, it does, okay, no, it does, it starts at the same position. Those line up. That one doesn't. Interesting. So because all those ones are, but that one's on the side, I don't know. It's somehow longer, even though it's the exact same number of segments. And it can still do the same incline and all that kind of stuff. Okay. So now what we need to do is design a bogey system that can run on each one of these. And then so at the moment with track design, I don't like that one. I don't mind it as a whole, but the fact that none of these, like this thing can just all snap together and mess itself up is gonna be annoying if it happens. This design is, I like it, however it has a negative side of the way that these things are attaching is a little bit fussy and a bit annoying. This design here, got to admit, personally my favourite, really like it. It's sleek and it works. I guess we'll see how we can get designs on here, and if I can get something to work in this system, it's going to be quite strong. And then this one. Now this design isn't my personal design, but I do like it. I think it works quite nicely. So if I can get something like this to work, then fair dues. But yeah, let's start with something I can drive on each one of these. Okay, so on a whole new day, but I have been spending the time designing a vehicle for each, or a bogey system, I guess you could call it, for each one of these rail designs. So I'm going to go over each one of them, and then we can discuss the, I guess, pros and cons of each one, and that includes how easy they are to build, but also how functional they are. So, let's start at number 1. So, number 1 is, believe it or not, actually a really simple design. And it's the simplest one I actually have here, pretty much. It's just some wheels on the outside and some wheels on the inside. And I have basically set it up in a... Oh yeah, fit 2 batteries as well, which is nice. It's got drive wheels, guide wheels, and then the other parts. So as you can see, if I drive forward, it goes, and it follows the track round, and it can go up and down, and it can do it at a really nice speed without much fear of anything bad happening. It's actually a really nice, solid design. The only thing I have a slight concern of is it's just how wide it is. And this isn't for anything negative to say, but it is wide. I can definitely find things to fill up on that. You know, if I...
Fuel critical.
No, I don't think I'm going to use them. But, like, the large grid things are that width. So, you know, fitting something like that on, which obviously I wouldn't do. But it's kind of nice to know that it can perfectly fit a 3 watt large block area or a 15 small grid area. And I guess if I want to, I can 100% turn it into a nice living space as a train. So, to be honest, I didn't think I was going to like it all that much, but strong contender. Really strong contender. Yeah, I actually really like it. Okay. So, that's the first design. The second design over here. I can get up in the same sort of way. And in all honesty, this one isn't much more complicated than the first design. It's the same wheel layout on the top. The only difference is it doesn't have the 2 layers. Now, I could do that if I wanted to. But I've added this half block panel, but if you look, it drives the exact same way. If I actually place all the top parts, it would even drive smoother like that. Yeah, it drives. It's all nice and good. So this one is technically 2 blocks wide, 2 large grids, but it will fit into a 3 grid area, so do that as you will. But yeah, again, really nice design. I really like it. Going forth onto this one here, I actually have 2 separate designs. So, this design here is got a center point to begin with. All of these designs have center points, and it's important. This one has a nice center point, and it uses the large grid wheels. And then on the bottom, the plan was for it to also use large grid wheels. However, for some reason, I can't place the wheel blocks on when I have them at the lowest point. I literally have them at the top and the bottom, and they would fit, but the game says no. I can place these small grid ones, and it would still work, but it just doesn't look 100% right. It then also has these ones which will push in on either side to lock front and back in. And the whole advantage with this type of rail is that no matter up, down, left or right, the bogey system is locked into place. So So it doesn't matter how fast you're going, really. As long as the track's stable, you're stable. And you won't go flying off. So then I built this one, which uses the same-ish thing, but instead it uses small grid... Oh, no. Instead it uses the 2x2 wheels. That gives enough space that when they are at the lowest point, I can place the wheels. The only negative with this is, as you can see, it is a 2-block center. If I try and add a third block to this, it doesn't really want to fit in very well. I can squeeze it in, I think, but it's very difficult, and especially when we go around corners, it's a concern that it may hit something. So, that's not good. The other option is I may be able to go 1 block less, like how it is on the bottom, but it's really not hanging on much. Either way, this design drives how you think it would. The middle wheels try and keep it aligned, which it looks like I actually need to increase the strength of the guide wheels a little bit. Let's go to 20. There you go. Yeah, and it locks it in. It can go up. It's a little bit bumpy. We'll say that. It's not the smoothest one. But all in all, it actually works not too bad. Okay.
Fuel critical.
And then the third design here, I can access from the bottom. And this is another sort of grabbing mechanism. So we got 3 small 1x1 wheels on the outside, and then the 2x2s on the top and the bottom. Now for this one, I had to segregate the drive to the top and the bottom, and then the guide wheels. I shouldn't have that on. Yeah, each one's in their own section. And it basically just allows it to drive how you would expect. By just clinging to it. And again, it can go fairly fast. Had a couple of problems with bits and pieces just exploding randomly on this one. Don't really know why, but seems to have got at least this design fairly stable. Seems like having the front and back wheel a bit further apart, making it a bit longer, actually works quite well. Yeah, this design, again, has a nice center point and it locks in fairly good. So,
Fuel critical.
oh, I guess the one negative side to this one is it's very narrow. It's only, obviously, 5 small grid blocks or 1 large grid block wide. But here comes the important bits. Which one do we go with? Now, I can be biased in my own way, but I don't 100% know. I'm personally thinking one of these 2 choices. And for the longest point, I was actually thinking of that one over there. It can't do that. Okay. Just because it's a solid design, works well, and I do honestly like it. And I think even now I will personally say this is still my go-to one, just because I like it. However, this design over here is a very good contender. It's wide, it can be fairly stable. However, designing these rail bits and pieces here to make them fit nicer is going to be a bit more of a challenge, which I may be able to work out. And then hello, spider. And then the only other thing is working out how I can make something work being this wide. Okay. I'm gonna have to ponder on it and come up with an idea for the next time Strider wants me to do something, because I'm guessing it is going to be a case of, hey, pick one of them and build a giant rail system to some designated location, or I don't know, something like that. Or just build a length of track and make sure you know how to do it. I don't know. But yeah, it's an interesting one. I'm liking it. It's gonna be fun. So yeah, option 1, option 2, Option 3. Option 4. I don't know. Which one to pick? But with the sun very much nicely in the sky, I think I'm going to spend a little bit more time on this gantry system, seeing if I can get a bit more of it to work. But after that, I'll be going to bed, so I'll see you for the next mission that Strider gives me.